So I
Yeah.
want to talk about another thing that is really important to you, and I find this, man. Your bio is just so long, man. There's so much to talk about, but this one is important to you. You've mentioned your Cherokee roots and your native roots, and you wrote the songs for the musical Nanyehi, and it was also turned into a short film as well, which you won awards for. It's part of the Oklahoma Movie Hall of Fame. Um,
Mhm.
so how did you decide to start on this track with this story of your I think it's your fifth great grandmother, right?
Right. It's something that I've known all my life since I was a little girl. My mom always said, Becca, you're a fifth great granddaughter of Nancy Ward, beloved woman of the Cherokee. So I knew about that all my life. And that's another little seed that was planted in me. I think I always knew that someday I would honor her, but I didn't know how. So, boy, fast forward to 1993. I decided I would do a tribute album of songs about Nancy Ward. Her Cherokee name was Nanyehi.
Right.
So in 1993, I wrote Let There Be Peace, Pale Moon, By the Fire. Um, I know for sure those. And then, like a couple of years after that, I co wrote This Land Is Not Our Land with James Nyhan, which is very Native American themed. It's only ours to use. This land is not our land. Um, and then I got real busy with my country music career because at that time I was doing a lot of country music festivals in Europe. And, I'm not doing much of those anymore. And it used to be that when people in Europe wanted to hear country music, it had to come to them, before the internet back
Mm.
then. But anyway, so I got to play a whole bunch of European shows with like Johnny Cash and just Tammy Wynette and some of the most wonderful artists on the planet. Um, but anyway, so where was I? I'm
Nanyi.
trying to Nanyehi, yes. So, one thing I noticed too that playing internationally, a lot of people, especially in France, were very interested in Native American history. In fact, there are some big productions in Europe. Disney Paris Disney even had like a big with live, horses and cattle and such, big productions about the Wild West. Um, so that's
So did this start off as an idea just for a regular album, and then it kind of morphed into a musical?
yes, it started out as an album, and I got busy with my career and I sort of put it on hold for a while. And then in 2007, I was back in my hometown, Bartlesville, Oklahoma, playing the Bartlesville Salute to the Centennial. Oklahoma became a state in 1907.
Okay.
And I included Pale Moon and Let There Be Peace in my little 6-song set that I also had Angels Among Us, Honky Tonk Saturday Night, Jones on the Jukebox, etc. And at the end of the show, the guy who wrote a little skit about the history of Bartlesville came up to me at the autograph table and he said, I know who Nancy Ward was because I talked about her when I did Pale Moon and Let There Be Peace. And he had directed Trail of Tears at the Jollagee Theater in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, one season, and he had also acted in it under the direction of Joe Sears. And
Okay.
you may know Joe from the Greater Tuna shows.
Okay.
He's a fellow Cherokee Nation citizen and everything. So out of the blue, I just blurted out, let's write a musical. You know, I know. I know, boy, I must have been crazy. Oh my
It
God.
worked out though, right?
So, yeah. So that was in 2007. I was busy for the next couple of years. Nick was busy. He was doing directing a lot of plays and musicals. He lives in Texas, by the way, near Houston, but he was doing a lot of theater work in Oklahoma. And then in let's see, when did we like in 2009 we actually embarked on it, or maybe it was 2008. We embarked on it, and we had in 2010 We did like a workshop in Tulsa. I started going back and forth to Oklahoma and cultivating my Cherokee ancestry. And it was very important for me. And then the very next chief that was elected, Bill John Baker, was a fellow Nancy Ward descendant.
Wow.
There are the president of the Association of the Descendants of Nancy Ward says there are probably over 40,000 living Nancy Ward descendants on the planet today.
Wow.
But to go back to Nancy Ward Nanyehi, she was born in 1738, died in 1822. She was her claim to fame that got her into the eye of the public. She was chewing the bullets beside her husband Kingfisher in the Battle of Taliwa in 1755. Uh, Sometimes Cherokee women did accompany their
Yep.
husbands' war to take care of the dead, to feed, for the food, sometimes to join the fighting. And Kingfisher was killed. One of the Creek shot Kingfisher. He was killed, fell to the ground. Nanyehi took his rifle, killed his assailant, and led the Cherokees to victory.
Wow.
And she was first honored as Gigage Agaya Aniyahwiyah, war woman. And then later she stood for peace because she realized as more and more settlers were coming over, she realized the only way the Cherokee could survive was to live among the Americans. And her cousin was dragging canoe, and he wanted the same thing for the Cherokee to survive. But his way of going at it was to kill all the people who encroached on Cherokee land.
Hmm.
But Nanyehi's was to negotiate and to work to live in peace.
So one of the first diplomats, essentially.
Amen on that.
Hmm.
And she's buried in eastern Tennessee.
Okay.
She died before the forced removal.
And so there's a short film on this too, right? That kind of morphed
Yes,
into that, right?
there is a short film that we did, and it was inducted into the Oklahoma Movie Hall of Fame. It's a 20-minute short film that we really actually did it to use as a stepping stone for a major film,
Right.
which we are in the process of hopefully getting to happen after all these
I
years.
hope that
It's
happens. That'd be amazing.
Thank you, thank you. The musical is rocking, though. We had our 13th and biggest production this past year with Academy Award recipient Wes Studi playing Peace Chief.
I got to say,
It
first of all, 13 productions. That's impressive. Just very, very impressive in its own right. Like, congrats on
Yeah,
that.
yes, it is, and we've had productions in 4 states, and our home theater is the Hard Rock in Tulsa,
Hmm.
and it is, Tulsa in Catoosa, actually, which is part of Tulsa, which is part of the Cherokee Nation, and actually, my hometown is within the Cherokee Nation, Bartlesville.
Hmm.
So I've really gotten into my Cherokee history. It's very important for me. The Cherokee tribe now is the largest federally recognized tribe in the country. There's over 470,000 Cherokee Nation citizens. We've surpassed the Navajo, and we've got a great chief and just a wonderful. It's rocking.
I
I'm,
love
I'm
that.
very happy